here. This is Killer Kyle. And welcome to Hey, me Matt here, and this is Killer Kyle, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. And Royal Rumble is on Sunday, so that should be pretty cool. So, I thought Raw was good this week, and I think the last two Raws were really good. The Go Home show was pretty cool, in my opinion. Got to find out. We're going to talk about the first match. So, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about, what was just mentioned on Raw, was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler going for the Women's Tag Team Championships against Charlotte and Asuka. Yeah. Now, you know how I feel about Charlotte, so...
Right.
And obviously, I don't like the Asuka two belts. I don't like any two-belt people. But they seem to do that a lot. I much rather would have had the Sexy Muscle Friends go for the titles. But if it's going to be Shayna and Nia, then... whatever, you know. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but if I were to pick, I would say I would like to see Nia and Shayna have another run with the titles.
That's fair enough. You know, when Charlotte returned and teamed up with Asuka, and they beat Nia Jax and Shayna for the tag titles, it's like, okay, give Charlotte another championship, and Asuka has, you know, is Asuka two belts, so to speak. There really hasn't been much done as far as the Raw Women's Championship is concerned. Now, on Raw, did have Asuka defend the Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss, but that was pretty much the first time she had the Raw Women's Championship since Asuka and Charlotte won the tag titles. And I mean, they could rather, very easily put the women's tag titles back on Nia and Shayna. I'm sure it would work again. I mean, it worked really well the first go around. Kind of like them being the odd couple, you know, arguing and disagreeing with each other and what have you, but yet, when it came down to taking care of business, they were able to take care of business and defend the titles. Now, as far as Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose is concerned, they are having a lot of airtime, let's say, and doing stuff, but like, there really hasn't been that much.
Yeah.
With them to say, oh yeah, they deserve to be in the tag title picture. Now, let's not say they don't, it's just...
Yeah, I understand.
They seem to be finding their way.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, and that's the thing, too. I mean, I looked at them as a legit tag team, besides Nia and Shayna. But, so, then what's your pick again?
I'm gonna go Charlotte and Asuka.
Right. So now we go on to, this is kind of weird, Cesaro versus Jey Uso. And I don't know what the hell that was all about.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about either.
I mean, I think Cesaro needs a push, finally. I'm not sure if this is it, but it's going to be a good match. Two different styles.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's going to be some way that Jay's going to pull it off. I mean, I want Cesaro to win more than anything, but I think there's going to be, somehow Jay's going to win.
Probably, yeah. I mean, when Jimmy got injured, Jay was just kind of, well, an afterthought, more or less.
Yeah.
And then Roman got into the picture, and there was that, I quit Hell in a Cell match, and then, there's Jay and Roman are an alliance, and it really seemed to have helped kickstart Jay on a singles run, and him having several main event matches on SmackDown has been very good for him.
Yeah.
And, him also getting involved in some of Roman's matches, whether it be for the Universal title or not. Generally, it is the Universal title. That all being said, will it be a good match? Sure. Like you said, a contrast of styles, but it's one of those things where it's like, it was just so randomly thrown together.
Yeah, and you know what? That used to happen a lot. But
well, yeah.
It should be a good match anyways. So now we have the Universal title. We've got the Chief Roman Reigns versus what we were going to think was Adam Pearce, but Kevin Owens. And I just want to say that I wasn't sure if they were pulling her leg about Adam Pearce, but I knew there was going to be an issue, and I think that I know Adam wrestled in the past. I just think that it was kind of dumb just to throw him in the match. But I'm glad that Kevin is getting another shot at the title. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but this is going to be one hell of a fight.
Oh, yeah, like, last man standing rules?
Yeah, oh.
Going to make it really good. And, the way they went about it was very well done.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Paul Heyman being like, oh, I pulled a few strings and you're in the gauntlet match, Scrap Iron, Adam Pearce, wrestled Ring of Honor and stuff like that, never really had made WWE and didn't have an opportunity for a championship, WWE championship, whichever. And, so that whole thing goes down, with Adam Pearce winning, and then it's like, alright, you have the contract signing, and, whatever issue you have with the contract, you take it up Roman, and so on and so forth. And at the beginning, it's like, oh, it's going to be notice qualifications. Like, oh, alright. And then, Heyman takes the contract to Roman's like, here it is, signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce signed it, you and him. No, notice qualification. Roman's like, I didn't ask for notice qualification. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this my way, let's say, and it's going to be last man standing. So like, alright, go through that whole thing, and then, it looks like Adam signs the contract, and Roman signs it. He's like, I've been waiting all night for you to do that, and he leaves the ring, and he's walking up the ramp, and he's kind of hobbling and stumbling a little bit, like, got a kink in his knee or whatever. Old injury he has, how it is, and, I don't know if I'll be ready for the match at the Rumble, and, it says in all the contracts, card subject to change. And I have a replacement in mind, of course. Kevin Owens goes walking out and signs the contract, and there it is. And it's like, very, very, very cleverly done. As far as the match is concerned, there's gotta be a way Kevin Owens can win. The shit he's been through in matches, and, the smack talk back and forth between Roman and Kevin has been very well. They tell a great story, and the number of times that Owens has come so close to becoming champion, and then ultimately getting screwed over in the long run.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a way for Owens to win.
Right.
Not necessarily saying that Owens needs a championship again. I mean, it'd be great for him to be, champion again. It just seems to be that maybe the Universal Championship will be the thing that points him in a better direction. Because he's been going back and forth with Roman for, I don't know, 3-4 months or so.
Yeah.
And now, aside from that, he hasn't really done much. So if you put the title on him, like, okay, make him champion, let's see where it goes, see how he does, see how long of a run he can have, and then go from there. I mean, he's already held the Universal Championship once. What's to say he can't hold it again? And it actually worked the first time he held the title. Yes, he was as a heel, and now he's more of a face. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, the number of times he's had now the Universal Championship and get screwed over in the long run.
So you pick Kevin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say Roman. I want to see how far this goes, because my Royal Rumble prediction, I want to make a prediction for WrestleMania. So for that, I'm going to say Roman. But so the WWE Championship match got Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg, and again, I just want to say, if you're not going to put the title on Goldberg, he brought him back, shit or get off the pot. This guy has been in the WWE now for a long time, off and on, 2-time Universal Champion, 1-time World Heavyweight Champion, so something's got to give. Like, I've been waiting for them to put the WWE title on him since 2003.
I'm sure a lot of people are in the same category as you. Waiting so long for Goldberg to be WWE champion. When he ends up WWE champion, I'm sure it'll be a great thing. Is Drew McIntyre the right guy for Goldberg to take the title off of? I don't know. Now, the whole premise of the match leading into it was like Raw Legends Night. At the end of the match with McIntyre and Keith Lee You know, big surprise, Goldberg's there. He comes out, he marches to the ring, and he's like, "Oh, you think you're better than all these legends?"
Which didn't make any sense.
You see them as washed up men and women that can't hang anymore. All this other stuff. There's like, wait a minute, this don't make sense. You want to challenge McIntyre for the championship at the Rumble? Cool, but like, McIntyre has always been about respect, you know, for the people that paved the way for him, came before him, and, you know, and forever in gratitude of the men and women that came before him. So that just, it was a weird start to the rivalry, if you will. But then things started to get better now. There was the whole thing with McIntyre testing positive for COVID and all this other stuff. But he's 100%, he's ready for the Rumble. So it for sure will be a good match. There's a whole funny segment on Miz TV. You know, you got Gilbert and this dude dressing up like McIntyre and that whole thing. And then, you know, this past on Raw on Monday, you got McIntyre comes in and he's like, you know, when I was quarantined for 14 days, about 2 weeks, you know, I didn't have any sense of smell. I was fatigued, and then by like the 4th day, I was training, and I'm 100% now, and I'll be 100% come to Rumble. And then, you know, you got Miz and Morrison coming out, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna cash in the contract, and I'm gonna be WWE champion. And then Goldberg comes out, and he just simply says, Sunday, the Rumble, for the championship, you're next. And then they're face to face, and Mason Morrison are on the outside, and they're egging on them. And it ultimately ended up being McIntyre and Goldberg grab a hold of one. McIntyre got Maze, Goldberg got Morrison, tossed them into the ring. Maze gets speared, Morrison gets Claymore, and then back to a face-off between the two of them. It's like, okay, that's a good way to sum it all up, let's say, and head into the Rumble. Now, there is still that X factor of Miz cashing in the briefcase, but still, you know, the match, I'm sure, will be a great match. I just don't know if McIntyre would be the right guy for Goldberg to take the title off.
Yeah, and that goes right into my theory. Well, again, I shouldn't jump the gun right now, but there's a possibility of wrestlers to win the Rumble to go against Drew McIntyre.
Sure there is.
Goldberg, look, I know ages and everything, but the fact is he's 55 years old, and I think it's time that he just cashes it in. I mean, how long can you expect someone to go like that? He's going to be 60 years old one day, and he's going to look back and think of all the shit that he didn't do.
Yeah.
I guess. So, I mean, yeah, for me it's going to be McIntyre. Because, look at this. If Drew wins and goes all the way to WrestleMania, he would be one of the longest WWE champions in history. Not as long as Bruno or Backlund, but like one of the longest wrestling WWE champions.
Yeah, if he hangs on to the title and the Rumble and you know, takes it into WrestleMania this year, he will be one of the few guys that have has won a championship at a WrestleMania one year and then carried the title into a WrestleMania the following year.
Yeah. So
So,
I think the only other person that would have done that was Hogan. I'm not sure.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So now we go on to we'll go to the men's Royal Rumble first. There's
Okay.
a lot of guys that are going to be in the show. And honestly, Miz still has his money in the bank. I'm not quite sure who's going to cash in on, if he does. So that's another possibility, but got Morrison, Otis, Reigns. Another surprise entry is Edge.
Yes.
So my hamster on the wheel was, let's say Edge wins the Rumble. He can easily go against Reigns or McIntyre. Or even Kevin Owens, but I'd much rather see Edge and McIntyre.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think?
Have Edge win the Rumble, go into maybe WrestleMania or even before WrestleMania. No, have Edge win the Rumble, go into WrestleMania, potentially take the title off of McIntyre at Mania, and then somehow work back to Orton and have that match that people, I'm sure, were wanting when, this whole rivalry kind of continued to also rehash Orton and Edge for the title.
Yeah. So,
If and which, outside of that, who knows, man, honestly.
yeah. Yeah, it should be interesting. So for the women's side, you have Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke. I was going to say Lita. Well, who knows? Lita could show up at any time.
Yeah, really.
You have, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Natalya. Honestly, if I were to pick, and we haven't seen her in a long time, and I'm always a fan of hers, is Nikki Cross.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, it's either going to be Nikki Cross, or hell, even Shayna Baszler. I've always wanted to see her in a feud, and I thought last year she would have had a feud with one of them, but that didn't really work out. Becky Lynch, I think it's too soon for her to come back, but who knows. But it's going to be a good show anyways, and I think the rumor is it's going to be at another location. I'm not sure. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So, then of course the performance by Bad Bunny, which I'm still laughing my ass off about that name.
I know, right?
And yeah, it's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure when the next Wheels of Fury episode will take us. I know that Elimination Chamber and Fastlane are coming up. I think, and this is only a wish anyways, is that, well, the band will get back together for WrestleMania. And that may or may not happen, I don't know.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, so I'm glad we were able to squeeze this out because, I have time, so.
Yeah.
And so this is me and Matt. We got Killer Kyle. And we will talk to you next time. Deuces.